Yeah, I think you always want more time at the end, but 28 days ago you're counting down the days, and now it's upon us. So I was telling somebody I don't know one sport that you have 28 days between contests in season. It's very unique, and even for them, I think it's 35. So it's pretty different to have that. You got to do a really good job of trying to game scrimmage, manage it, because you just don't have that long a layoff in any sport. I mean, competitive. We practiced, but just competitively, you don't have that long a layoff. So they're fired up and ready to go.
Maybe information overload, or is it more much about you guys now making just fine-tuning things?
No, I think you always try to, at the end, go back to what the basics are in terms of who they are, who we are, and then you try to find things that are different. You throw a curveball at them on Thursday and Friday because something's going to happen in the game different. I mean, they're going to do something different. We're going to do something different, and it's not what either team does. It's how the team responds.
Kirby, I've heard a lot of coaches talk before, beginning of the playoff, about just how much it taxes the team in 2 games against really good opponents at the end. I mean, how do you manage that with experience you guys have had? How much of a practice?
Well, it's a one-game season, and the one-game season is this one because there is no game after this one if you don't win. So we don't even think about the management of that or the next game. We're thinking about this game, and that's all we're focused on. Yeah, hopeful to get both of them out there, and hopefully both of them can play.
Talk about unscouted coaches. How do you balance what you guys do, trying to throw them something they haven't seen on tape versus just being who you are?
I think you do that every game. There's not a game we play that we don't try to complement something we've done, and you do what you do. And the best teams I've been around, you know what they're going to do, and you got to stop them, and or they got to stop you, and that's the best teams I've been around. So we don't try to overthink it and try to be at our best when our best is needed, and that comes from a mental disposition, a physical disposition, and maybe a schematic disposition, but we try not to overthink it. Well, we reached out to the kicking academy over there. They got the pro kick, and they kind of deliver players. They try to pair you up with what your needs are. Are you a rugby need? Are you a straight on? And they've got hundreds and hundreds of kids that kick over there, and he was one of those guys that they thought was capable of coming to the States and kick, and very talented, and he did just that.
Do you have guys lining up on your staff to go to recruiting visit opening?
No. We did a lot of Zooms, and that probably is the best way to recruit Australia in terms of Zooms. So if we'd have gone there, we probably would have lost, 5 days travel time, so nobody made that trip.
Was there anything you took from Alabama 11-12 going back to back that you kind of set the tone for this team and try to do?
I can't remember that far back. Like honestly, it's too hard. I don't have a book of notes, or you just have experiences from your coaching career. In 20-something years coaching, you just try to do the best job you can, and there's no this magic potion. Let me go to the book where you had a team go twice. There is no book for it. You just manage each and every team and each and every season as best you can.
Somewhat along those lines, you've been on the frustrating end of a 1 versus 4 matchup against sometimes. You've thought about any of the lessons from that with your team from that experience?
Not really. I mean, I remember the game well because it was definitely frustrating, but nothing positive or negative or something we'd have done different. We talk about all the time limiting regret, and I think one of the ways you limit regret is through a lot of detail and thought about the way you plan. And there's a lot of detail and thought into that plan, but a lot of detail and thought into this plan. But those are numbers, man. That's just 2 numbers in front of somebody's name. At this point, it's best teams in the country playing the best teams in the country.
How would you evaluate Malachi's freshman year?
He got put in a situation to get a lot of snaps. He took advantage of a lot of those opportunities. There's a lot of growth that you see in practice he's made. He's only played in 13 games, which would seem like a lot, but there's a lot of our kids on our team that have played in 26, 39 games, and he hadn't had a chance to do that, so he has a lot of room for improvement. Yeah, I feel like it's that way each week. I mean, you play against really talented teams every week, and you want to be at your best. Certainly think when you talk about the caliber of recruits that Ohio State has, our kids know their kids, and they know each other from the recruiting experience. And now more than ever, kids pay attention to that. They go to trips together. They go play in all-star games together, and there's a lot of overlap there between Ohio State and Georgia. And I think the familiarity kind of brings on a new energy of competition. They want to go compete against the best, and this will be two of the premier programs going against each other.
A lot of talent, obviously, in the wide receiver. What is it that they do so well? Is it a mixture of talent and just schematic?
Oh, it's both. It's a great quarterback, great system, great receivers coach, great receivers. They've come up under 4, 5, 6 first rounders. You know, those kids watch those guys before them play, and it's very similar to our inside backer room where you had 3 inside backers last year drafted for us, and the inside backers that are now playing emulate those guys. They watched them work, and that group they've got now is as talented as a group as there is in the country. Just depth. I mean, he's a talented young man. He's a force to be reckoned with. It allowed us to play more players. It gave us a little more disruption in the middle. Gave us some pass rush interiorly that we needed. And he's really brought an energy to the defense that is kind of needed. He was the most experienced player coming back, and now having him back and healthy has been big for us. Well, it's a great matchup. I mean, you look across the board, there's a lot of great matchups in this game. That's one of the interesting ones because they're certainly very talented on the offensive line. Got a great group, a lot of experience, and our defensive line will be challenged. You know, Nolan being down, we kind of do it by committee now outside of Jalen, and it'll be a great competitive matchup for both groups. They're just great leaders. They're great humans. They care about Georgia more than they care about themselves, which that selflessness is hard to find nowadays, and I think it just means a lot.
Coach, I don't know if I asked you before, but Jalen's obviously an All-American, a dominant player, NFL prospect. Have you had any chances to talk to him? Is that more Jalen not preferring to speak to media, or is that like, until you get well or whatever? What is that all about?
Well, it's a little bit of combination. He's a kid that's a little bit shy. He's been injured some throughout his career. That position is not one that lends itself to the limelight. Jordan had a lot bigger personality when it comes to that. That wasn't something that Jalen was intrigued by. And to be honest with you, we cater to our kids and make sure they represent our program in the right limelight. And he's done nothing but that. So I'm proud of everything he's done.
What does he do in particular? When you talk about Jordan and Devontae, those guys, and then you look at Jalen, strength is clearly one of the things. What would you say is his primary attribute?
All-around talent. I mean, he's got what you call instincts, balance, body control. He could probably play end if he needed to. He could probably play linebacker if he needed to. He just has instincts and athleticism that's not natural for that position. That is a position that's usually one gap and play it. He can feel blocks. He can get around blocks. He's just really athletic. Yeah, I'm not a big comparison guy. I think Ohio State stands out on their own. I mean, they've got a lot of talent across the board, probably the most talented roster that we will have played against, but it's hard to do comparisons. I don't think it's hard. I think it's your job. And I think our kids that played last year, a large percentage of them are gone. When you look at the roster flip we had, So these kids were hungry. You know, it wasn't like it was a repeat, as you guys call it. It was a new start. And this group just started brand new. And I think they've done a good job leading to this point of getting themselves in this position. But it's not easy to do, but it's easier to do when your players are all relatively new. These guys weren't major contributors last year.